Sunday. That's right. Sunday of week 1. Virginia Tech, number 13, South Carolina. South Carolina is a 7.5-point favorite, Will. The over-under I have is 12 reminders that this is the Beamer Bowl. 12. What do you wear if you're Frank Beamer? What do you wear? What are the rules about rooting against programs that built you a statue? Because, and I was talking about this with Ryan Brown on the next round earlier, it's different when Spurrier is going into the stadium that has a statue built for him and he's South Carolina's coach. All right. Like he's obviously, where his allegiances lie in those moments. Frank Beamer's got an opportunity as a fan watching this game to make a decision. Do I wear the apparel of my son's program or do I wear the apparel of the program that I built? What would you do? Put yourself in Frank Beamer's shoes for this one.
I think you got to support your son. I think at the end of the day, I mean, maybe you go like South Carolina, like maybe shirt and then like a backward VT hat or something, just so they know. I think what would be super sweet is if I don't think he would do this, but get one of those like custom shirts of just like them, like a picture of them. That would be super sweet because it's like, oh, a VT in South Carolina. But I think overall, what a moment for him, man. I mean, it's just got to be almost no matter the result of this game, when players stay healthy, his son doesn't like really get blown out or anything. That's got to be the top of the mountain as a dad.
Yeah, and I don't know how what his mindset is like as much during a game of how tortured he feels watching his son coach football, but there will be a lot of people dissecting that. I do think that for this game, come to think of it, man, I should have asked Beamer that at Media Days. Why didn't I ask him that? That was a dumb miss on my part. I apologize to the people. We'll find out soon enough what Frank is going to be wearing, but I had an opportunity to just let that slip away. More devastating for Virginia Tech fans than seeing Frank Beamer root against their team would be losing another close game. Last year, Virginia Tech played in 6 games that were decided by 10 points or less. They were 0-6 in them. Not great. They were 0-3 in those spots in 2023. And in Brent Pry's first year in 2022, Virginia Tech was 1-4 in games decided by 10 points or less.
That's the ghost of Scott Frost has returned, folks.
This might be even worse, Will. 1-13 in games decided by 10 points or less. Who did that one win come against back in 22?
Who was it?
A Hugh Freeze coached Liberty. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that guy, bless his heart, he has some embarrassing losses.
Hugh Freeze is the only coach who lost to Brent Pry in a game decided by 10 points or less. Hugh Freeze then a week later loses to Diego Pavia's New Mexico State team for the first time. Shane Beamer will not join Hugh Freeze. I don't think he will. I don't think South Carolina flexes in the way that some might assume and the way that some are hoping for in a standalone game for Lenore Sellers. The building offseason love fest for Lenore Sellers, which I think is very justified when you actually watch him play. I think there are going to be a lot of people that tune in that are kind of like, I was hoping for something a little bit more. Kind of similar to how they felt watching him against Illinois in the bowl game, where you're like, this isn't really the performance that I was expecting from somebody that I've heard so much about over the course of the last couple months. I think if you're expecting a dazzling Lenora Sellers performance, I would remind you that it's his first game with a new offensive coordinator.
Who's that, Connor?
One Mike Shula. Yes, we mustn't forget that. That is a thing. We'll get reminders of that, I think, throughout this game. He's facing an opportunistic defense as well. I love that Rasul Faison, the guy that we brought up earlier, finally eligible from the NCAA. I love that he's going to be playing in this one. Big day for the Utah State transfer. I think South Carolina shakes off a little bit of a slow start, and I think they ultimately win this one 24-20. I think that would qualify as a low-scoring college game.
Yeah, I think, last year we kind of talked about 2024 South Carolina was an all-time fascinating team. I think we did cover them properly. And, a lot of the beat reporters, like I talked about when I saw them at media, they were like, hey, don't forget about that Old Dominion game to start the year. Like, there was reason to doubt this team early, as much as like we pretend like, oh, we got cool take. Like, they obviously got rolling after that. But I think that hopefully we have moved past that. And I think that, the two quarterbacks that I think like my first and second team all SEC for the preseason were Nussmeier and Sellers, right? And I think both of those guys, as we just talked about, Nussmeier's hold such an amazing like load for their team. They're going to bear so much of the responsibility win or lose. And I think that Sellers has matured so much from being that kid, with the rec specs that came in. It was like, oh, well, you could have had KJ, if you remember all that. And it's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that worked out great. They got super KJ in Lenora Sellers, and he took them to heights that were unimaginable. And so that being said, like, I think that he is now ready to kind of lead this program. And these are the types of games that, Beamer, I guess I gotta specify here. Shane Beamer has been a great big game coach. I feel like, it's hard to beat the bigger teams, at South Carolina, but when it comes to, he's had a lot of feathers in his cap when it comes to like bigger games. I think where he struggled has been some of the smaller games and the routine stuff. He's a little bit of a roller coaster guy that gets you really up for a big game like a Clemson, and then against an Old Dominion, you can kind of get a little bit like, I'm not going to say the guys weren't ready, but it's just they didn't approach it with the same intensity, obviously.
There's a little Pat Narduzzi there. There's a little bit of Pat Narduzzi.
It's actually kind of it's like a Gen Z, not Gen Z, but like a Gen X Narduzzi, where it's like he seems more fun, so we don't see it that way. Yeah, that's a good point. But point being, I think that Sellers can be such a floor raiser when healthy, which got to keep him healthy. With the rushing, with the ability to avoid sacks, with the ability to like stretch the field. So that being said, these are the type of games that hopefully as a South Carolina fan, despite Mike Shula's best efforts, you'll be able to just chill out by halftime, have a couple extra beers, go get your week started, go maybe put some chores on in the background. That's what we hope as SEC fans, is that our game is boring.
There was a shot in Any Given Saturday of Lenora Sellers out to dinner with his family, and his dad is just he's like got surf and turf or something like that. He's eating like a lobster tail or something like that, and he says, like a mouthful of food, he's like, best decision you could have made was coming here. Like, yeah, I would think
Facts.
that too if I were that spot.
Yeah.
I hope, for the sake of wanting to see the best version of Lenora Sellers, that it doesn't feel like his surroundings are letting him down this year. It's my biggest concern. It's my only pushback with putting him in the Heisman Trophy conversation and saying that he's got this type of ceiling, because in a given day, absolutely, Lenora Sellers can be the best player in college football. I think that is very much all within his capabilities. I hope, for his sake, that we don't look back on this season and go, man, there were better situations for him. There could have been better situations, and we're doing the game in early November where we're like, hey, what would Lenora Sellers be doing with this offensive line or this group of receivers? I don't want that to be the case, because I do admire the loyalty that he made to South Carolina and the loyalty that South Carolina had to him when they could have said, let's go and get a KJ Jefferson. Let's go and get somebody that's more proven at this level, because that relationship could take this program to different places. And I do think that's so exciting to talk about. It's so rare for, obviously, South Carolina to have a returning quarterback like this, best returning quarterback that they've ever had in program history. And I hope that in week one, we're not going, oh boy, bad taste in our mouths. Those surroundings need to improve in a hurry, or else this might not be the best version of Lenora Sellers. Maybe a slow start. Ultimately, they should get in the win column in this one.